On Sunday, we were treated to a great chess match between the top team Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. Now, on paper, this doesn't look like a fair match because the Celtics have a huge talent advantage over the Cavaliers. But for people that aren't in the loop, the Cavaliers have emerged as a true contender in the NBA because of their much improved offense. To keep it short, Evan Mobley has been used as more of a ball handler this season, which has significantly improved the spacing. And Darius Garland has felt more empowered this season to find his own offense, giving the Cavs two extra guys that could score and create offense along with Donovan Mitchell. Now, to really understand how this game played out, we need to go back to when these two teams met for the first time. In that game, there were two main storylines both surrounding Darius Garland. On the offensive end, Darius Garland was absolutely terrible in that first game, shooting 3 for 21 from the field. He had a lot of trouble taking advantage of Al Horford in the pick and roll. With Horford's mobility, the Celtics could switch more often, and Garland had trouble getting around him. On the defensive end, the Celtics attacked him all night, which helped generate a lot of open shots. With Jaylen Brown having a huge size mismatch, the Cavs felt that they needed to help more often than not. They were ball watching a little too much, which allowed the Celtics to get really clean looks. But luckily for him, there were two things going for him in this second game. First, instead of Horford at the 5, the Celtics had gotten back Kristaps Porzingis, and 2, Jaylen Brown was sitting out along with Derek White. So without Brown, Tatum tried his luck on Garland early and often, but the Cavs made an adjustment that slowed down the Celtics offense. Instead of helping early and often, the Cavs let Tatum attack Garland, but once he got close to the rim, then they made sure there was another help defender. As I've mentioned in the past, Tatum is not necessarily the most consistent finisher, so as long as Evan Mobley's there, then Cleveland was going to live with these shots, and that way, Cleveland was able to prevent wide open threes and easy layups. The only shot that Tatum could really get was the fadeaway in the paint. Yes, it's not really a great shot, but because he has 9 inches on Garland, this is essentially a wide open shot. But overall, the Cavs' game plan was to trust Garland to keep Tatum in front enough and then only help when he was really close to the rim. So to make sure Mobley or another big man wasn't around the rim, the Celtics put a guard down low. Notice how Hauser moves to the baseline so Garland would have to be the help defender, and that works to perfection as Tatum drives in for the 3-point play. Next time down, the Celtics put Peyton Pritchard on the baseline, so as Tatum's driving through Garland, Okoro has to help and he sidesteps around him for the layup. But besides these two layups, Garland had actually done a pretty good job holding his ground. Even when Donovan Mitchell was the help defender in the paint, Garland's able to keep Tatum in front, and now he's forced to take the fadeaway just a little farther than he really wants to. So because Garland wasn't a pushover, it forced Boston to shoot everything over the top, and it showed as Tatum was only 4 for 12 in the first half, and the Cavs held Boston to 49 points. In addition, Garland had also played much better on the offensive end. The Cavs used some guard-to-guard screens so that he can get in the paint easier, but more importantly, with Porzingis in the game, Cleveland had a lot of success attacking drop coverage, specifically with the dribble handoff. With Porzingis dropped back, this puts a ton of pressure on the guards to navigate those screens, so Garland was able to get in the paint a lot easier and do his job as a facilitator. Especially when you have another screen that flows into the dribble handoff, it really becomes almost impossible to defend. So as long as Boston wasn't drop coverage, anyone on the Cavs could run this action to get in the paint for easy shots, and it was looking like Cleveland had this all figured out except for one thing. Despite all these adjustments, Boston was still only down 2 going into halftime, and with the opportunity to make the next chess move, the game was theirs for the taking. In an effort to stop those dribble handoffs, the Celtics assigned Porzingis to Okoro. That allows the Celtics to switch all the ball screens, which forces the Cavs to ISO. Okoro tries attacking Porzingis to no avail, but Mitchell ends up making a really tough step-back jumper. But a few minutes later, this matchup works to perfection. Garland can't create any separation off the screens, so he gets it to Lavert, and now we see Porzingis even stepping up to contest the shot. The other thing we saw was more help from the wing. So when Porzingis was on Mobley, Mitchell immediately tries to attack the drop, but they bring Hauser in to cut the drive off. That forces Okoro to have to make a play, and Jared Allen eventually gets blocked. These adjustments seem to throw Cleveland off their game. Instead of trying to attack that drop, Mobley tries to invert a pick and roll to attack Porzingis, but he does a good job using his length and he throws the ball away. On this one, Mitchell has Pritchard, but instead of attacking him, he gives the ball up. The Celtics do a great job staying on their man on each drive, which then leads to Mobley having to take a fadeaway on Luke Kornet. With the Cavs offense sputtering, this gave enough time for Boston's offense to string good offensive possessions together to take control. On the inbound, Mitchell tells the Cavs, "I'm sure Kenny Atkinson gave him," but that doesn't work as Hauser beats his man for the layup. On the next inbound, Hauser has the height advantage on Garland, and he shoots right over him for 3. But more importantly, Jason Tatum finally got in a groove. Instead of driving to the rim, Tatum was looking for the fadeaway. With the Cavs putting Garland on him with no help coming, he was essentially getting a free look at the rim, and as a result, he made more of these shots than he normally would. And that carried over to the three-point line as well. With Tatum in a rhythm, he pulls from 36 feet, and Boston's lead is now up to 9. With his confidence growing, Tatum posts Mitchell on the left wing, and he turns into a fadeaway and a bucket. Tatum scored 17 points in the third quarter, and the Celtics had a 12-point lead going into the fourth. And if Cleveland wanted to come back, there were 2 important questions they needed to answer. How would they attack the Celtics, and could they do enough to slow Tatum down? To start the fourth, the Cavs wanted Evan Mobley to attack Porzingis in space. They do that by running the stack action, but notice how they set the screen really high and have Mitchell really deep in the paint. That gives Mitchell the time to clear Holiday out, so Mobley has Porzingis one-on-one in the paint and he floats it in. Next time down, they use the dribble handoff to do the same thing. It's Mitchell who clears out, which gives Mobley the space to drive, and he pump fakes before hitting another floater. If you notice, Boston feels most comfortable when Porzingis isn't drop coverage, but despite the fact that Mobley only made a couple shots and Boston's lead was still intact, these few possessions were enough for Boston to reconsider their strategy down the stretch. The first aspect was to bring Horford and Tatum back in the game for Porzingis. Now because JT has success all day with the fadeaway, he just straight ISOs Isaac Okoro, but his length does enough to affect the shot. With Porzingis out, the Celtics put Al Horford on Isaac Okoro. The Cavs go back to the stack, which gives Garland the space to drive, and Okoro makes the Celtics pay to cut the lead in half. With the game tightening up, Tatum goes back to hunting Darius Garland. Notice how Boston puts Horford in the corner, so the Cavs' help defenders are 2 guards, and Tatum's able to pull up over Garland to push the lead to 5. After a Cavs make, the Celtics do the same exact thing. Garland does a great job pushing Tatum into all those help defenders, but he just rises up over him. On the other end, the Cavs looked like they were in trouble with the shot clock winding down, but Mitchell hunts Sam Hauser and knocks down the tough step back jumper to cut the lead to 2. Now Boston wanted to bring Porzingis back for offensive purposes, but the biggest question was if they could protect him on defense. So they try to hide Porzingis on Okoro, but for the first time, the Cavs have Okoro set the screen. Porzingis actually steps up, and it backfires as the Cavs move the ball to Donovan Mitchell for a wide open 3. Now the Cavs have a similar problem on the defensive end. With Tatum having success on Garland, they needed to figure out if they were okay with this matchup. They weren't okay as Garland switches back to Pritchard, but he's so deep in the paint and he banks it home to push the lead up to 3. So, never to try to throw the Cavs off, the Celtics have Porzingis go back to the drop and have Holiday cheat over the screen. But Mitchell's one step ahead and crosses back towards the left side, so he's now wide open for the game-tying 3. At this point, it was about who was going to break first. Tatum goes Garland hunting again, and the Cavs give it to him. Garland forces Tatum left where Okoro's waiting for him, so he has to take a really tough floater. And with the Celtics not set on defense, Mitchell goes quickly downhill and stops on a dime for the floater to give the Cavs their first lead in a really long time. Then on the other end, the Celtics do the same thing. Garland tries forcing Tatum left, but a nice crossover gives him a clear lane to his right, but he blows the layup, which gives Cleveland a chance to close the game for good. So with the game on the line, the Celtics put Porzingis back onto Okoro. KP tries stepping up on the pick and roll, but that again opens up the short roll, and Mobley cuts from the baseline for the game-sealing slam. Yes, the Cavs beat the Celtics without 2 of their main starters, so this game might not mean much in the grand scheme of things. But I think what's different about Cleveland this year is that Kenny Atkinson knows what needs to be done during games to give the Cavs the best chance of winning every night. He's working with a good roster, but one that's a little disjointed. However, from Garland guarding Tatum for long stretches without help, or letting Mobley attack 7'3" Kristaps Porzingis, Atkinson has given his players the confidence to do things that they're not accustomed to doing. And it's shown with the Cavs having the best record in the league at 21-3. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If so, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.